We are joined on the line now. Very happy to have D.C. Councilmember Muriel Bowser, Democrat Ward 4, with us. Councilmember Bowser, thank you for joining us here on Mornings on the Mall.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Well, we wanted to start with the fact that you are supporting a piece of legislation that says, you know, if you're a non-citizen, if you've got a green card, but you're a non-citizen, and you've lived in the district for, only 30 days, that you should be able to vote in municipal elections. Go ahead. We've discussed it on this program quite a bit, and we find a lot of people who have some concerns about this. Why do you think this is a good idea?
Well, I think for sure we're going to talk about all the concerns to the legislative process. But certainly we have a lot of permanent and legal residents who work and live in the District of Columbia who in just about every way participate in the activities of municipal life. And many of them want to say in how the government runs. So I think it's, it's high time that we had that discussion at the council.
Well, the same could be said of people who live in Virginia and Maryland, but who come to the district every day. They have concerns about, as Mr. Grosso said, potholes, community centers, playgrounds. All of these things are important to them as well. Why shouldn't they be allowed to vote there?
Well, they don't pay any taxes. That's the biggest reason. And they take it, just about everything that they earn in the District of Columbia, back to the jurisdictions where they live. We're talking about bona fide tax-paying people in the District of Columbia who are here legally. And so the instance between a legal resident who is a non-citizen and a Virginia resident would be very different.
But 30 days, you don't even know where the district building is if you've only been here 30 days.
And that may be true, and that's something that we can certainly tweak as we move forward in legislation. What we did on Tuesday was the very first step in the legislative process, and that's the introduction. And so, we will have a public hearing. We will have the opportunity for many people to put in their views, for look at all the practical implications, and make sure we have the very best piece of legislation before moving forward.
Muriel Bowser, one more follow-up on this. Based on your logic, based on the fact that all of these things affect the people who live here and pay taxes here, then why shouldn't a person who is here illegally also have the right to vote? Because the same holds true to them.
Well, that's not often the case, and we do actually have a lot of benefits available in the District of Columbia to people who haven't yet achieved citizenship.
Oh, I know. Shouldn't they have the right to vote as well? Why are you drawing the line at a green card?
Well, where we're drawing the line at is people who are legally here and paying taxes.
All right, but people who are illegally here also pay taxes, we keep being told by the people who support amnesty for illegal immigrants. So shouldn't they also have the right to vote?
I'm not sure that that's the case, and I know that it's difficult to verify.
Well, we were told when you passed the legislation giving a driver's license to illegal aliens, we were told that part of the reason why is because they're here, they're driving anyway, and also they're paying taxes. We should get them insured, all of those things.
Well, our rationale is that we want to make sure for the driver's license issue that people have access to insurance. And that's exactly what the right thing to do is for the District of Columbia, to make sure people have insurance.
Let's move on real fast to the minimum wage. We had you on to talk about the Walmart bill, and you were an opponent of that. You didn't think there should be a double standard, and by raising the minimum wage on Walmart, that was going to cost jobs potentially and make things too expensive for people who were trying to shop there. But now you're backing an across-the-board minimum wage increase to $11.50 an hour. What about the mom-and-pop small business owners who are now going to be affected by this?
Well, I think it's important in our city where we have rising cost that we make sure that people can earn fair wages. And when I was on with you the last time, I know that we talked about not having a situation where we pushed our businesses out to the surrounding jurisdictions where our residents were shopping anyway. I'm very pleased that at least in Maryland that we will be moving in a similar direction to have, over the course of time, an increased minimum wage for everybody, which makes more sense. We don't lose our competitiveness with our Maryland neighbors, while at the same time we raise wages for a lot of D.C. residents.
Meanwhile, Fairfax County's licking their chops. D.C. Councilmember Muriel Bowser is our guest. You're running for mayor, and we were really paying attention to yesterday's hearings with the fire chief. Did you see the hearings yesterday?
Actually, we've been following the hearings and following the reports that the fire department has issued, and really, I have to tell you, hearing across the city and all 8 wards of the District of Columbia, people are very concerned about our public safety apparatus.
Then why not fire this fire chief who has not been able to get it done?
That's the mayor's call. And as mayor, I'm going to make sure that we have the right people in place.
So you're saying you are running for mayor. Are you saying that if you are elected, you'll fire this guy?
I haven't made any commitments on any directors, save the police chief. And I think that all of the directors have to step up and make their case. We've heard probably more than in any department complaints about this one.
The thing that happened yesterday is the fire chief is asked, well, why didn't you ask for more fire trucks? Why didn't you ask for more? You made no request for additional equipment. And he said, well, that's an oversight. The guy who filled out the budget stuff, he just retired. He threw that guy under the bus. But isn't it really the responsibility of the fire chief to make those requests?
It's the most basic function of government to keep our neighborhoods, our families, our homes and structures safe. And more than that, I think you know this, our fire department gets more medical calls than they get anything.
Well, I understand that, but you're not willing to, as a member of the council, call for this guy to be fired.
I haven't been willing to do that.
Why not?
Because I think that we have a lot of issues with that fire department, the equipment being one of the biggest.
Well, hasn't he been there since like 2000?
He's been there 13 years.
He hasn't been. He's been the fire chief since Vincent Gray came on.
Well, but he
was interim fire chief in 2000.
Yeah, but then he had a break.
Okay.
I actually think he was brought back when he was someplace else.
Yeah, this guy is Vincent Gray's hire. All right, well, listen, you want to replace Vincent Gray, and he just announced that he is going to be running for re-election. He's not answering any direct questions about the looming questions that are still hanging there from his last campaign. Don't you think he needs to come clean?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, I've been in this race now 257 days. We had not announced on March 23rd. And I've been answering questions from the public, from the press, on any and every issue that's brought to me. So the idea that you would run for election as mayor and refuse to answer the U.S. Attorney's questions from the press.
If you could ask him one question, what would you ask him?
Well, it's really up to him to come forward to the U.S. Attorney. I would ask, why would anybody vote for a mayor with a looming federal investigation that he refuses to state his responsibility in?
All right, Muriel Bowser, D.C. Councilmember, always great to have you. Thank
you
for
appreciate it.
being a regular here. And her website, by the way, MurielForMayor.com, if you would like Muriel Bowser to be your next D.C. mayor.
Yeah, we have to have a fresh start.
It's 8:15. Well, she got the slogan in there, too.